most amazing fam, and today I'm bringing you top 10 scary underrated creepypasta part 2. And when I say underrated, I mean these are ones that don't get enough love. And anyways, I had to parse through some bad ones to get to the tastiest of the not so talked about creepypastas, so please let me know about some other bomb pastas in the comments below. Because I did read the comments on the last one and y'all know what's up. Eyeless Jack, Sally, Bloody Painter, all those good ones. What else you have to know going into this is that all of the stories I will be talking about today will be linked below so you can give them a full read and let them haunt your nightmares. And if you're just looking for more creepypastas, definitely stick to the end because I'll be shouting out some that one person recommended and I think you should check them out. Anyways, without further ado, because creepypastas can get pretty long, let's get creepy. Starting at number 10, Charles Bonnet Syndrome. This one is a great one, written by S.P. Hickey. It takes about 22 minutes to read, so perfect before bed. This one I think needs more reads because it's super well written, incorporates a bit of humor and lightness so you get the illusion of safety in your creepypasta, and then it shakes you to your core. Really good pasta. It's about a man named Andrew who loses most of his sight, gets angry because he lost his sight, but then he gets his life together, and then he starts seeing things. He gets diagnosed with Charles Bonnet Syndrome, a real condition where people with vision loss see images that are a result of their mind taking in the information it's getting and then trying to produce an image. So it sees visions that aren't actually happening. Hallucinations. After that, the hallucinations don't scare Andrew anymore because he knows what's going on with it, and he continues on with his life until he has one hallucination that doesn't fit in with the others. It's of a woman in a fancier tuxedo attire with red accents, a top hat hiding much of her face, and a third arm coming out of her back. He said her smile was too wide for her face and had too many teeth. He calls her a tall woman at first and then later names her Helen Highwater. Right when he gets over his fears of Helen, something happens. And I'll leave you to read it to find out. On to number 9. 1999. This one is nearly 10 years old now, I think, originally published in November of 2009, and I don't think it gets the credit it deserves. This story, credited to Camden Lamont, is written as a kind of blog-style account of a guy named Elliot. He discovers a strange local access channel when he's young called Caledon Local 21. It's programming done by a Mr. Bear, and the channel has weird TV shows with low-quality content that apparently were meant to lure children to his house in the woods. And what Mr. Bear does with the children isn't so nice. Mr. Bear fled once police were onto him, and Elliot starts looking into this event years later once he's older. And what he hears from it is disturbing. I'll save you from the spoilers, but the reason this one I find is such a great read is because of the interesting style to it. It's framed like an interactive blog where Elliot answers questions, so it keeps you hooked because you don't know what details are going to be next in this story. But next, on to number 8, Psychologist. This one is written by a user named Crashing Symbol. And okay, I know this one can be kind of well known, but I don't think it's well known enough. This one's about a guy named Tim who wants to reach out to his old friend Steven, only to find Steven had done a sick and twisted experiment on his family. It details Tim's experience watching the tapes of the experiment and his reaction to the awful things he saw. The author themselves said this was their first attempt at writing a creepypasta, and yes, the writing of this one isn't at its best, but the prequel to this shows a lot of growth with the writer, and the ideas in it are great. If we want more good pasta, we have to give compliments to the chef with well-worded critiques and encourage them to continue their practice. One person literally ripped through all of the author's plot holes, and the author responded with a thank you and kept writing, which brings me to number 7, which is Psychologist's prequel, Starving Dogs. As I just said, this one is a prequel to the last one. It's written as a diary entry recovered from an abandoned house, so I don't know if you can tell I'm a big fan of cool writing styles that differ from the traditional. If you haven't put it together just yet with what I talked about before, the diary and abandoned house are both Steven's, the psychologist from the last story. It details his experience preparing to do the experiment on his family and has some mentions of him abusing animals. Honestly, it's fragmented and seems a little out of context if you read it on its own, but when you pair it with psychologist, it messes with your mind, honestly. Steven doing this experiment for some secret company called FISI kind of leaves the reader with some questions on what's happening, but another thing it does is it scares the heck out of you with how mysterious and lifelike the diary entries seem. So I definitely recommend it paired with Psychologist. On to number 6, The Harbinger Experiment. This next one is credited to Zion J, and I find it so well done. It's about a scientist named Zimmerman doing a super secret project called the Harbinger Experiment, and it's told from the point of view of a medic who is hired to help with the project. The hired staff for the project in the story didn't know how dark the experiment would be. Zimmerman says he was trying to trap the supernatural and dark entities in human hosts, and and in the story it worked, but not entirely in the way Zimmerman hoped. Honestly, it worked far too well. Unnatural entities took hold of the bodies, which ended in fatal consequences. I'll leave out the details so you can read it for yourself, but please do watch out if you start hearing Tiny Tim's Listen to the Sunlight. Just warning you. But on to number 5, An Amateur. This pasta is supplied by Lucretia Vestea and is about a 13-minute read. It's from the point of view of a guy named Felix who obviously objectifies women, and it's about the one time he allowed himself to pick up a hitchhiker, although he says he never does. This hitchhiker in this instance is a pretty girl named Mackenzie with what looks like a super heavy backpack. She drops the bag in the trunk and hops in the car. And in this, he's like super into her and they're having a witty and banter and conversation, but something's off when she leaves. This is a spoiler alert, so heads up. It turns out during this she is wearing contacts and a wig, and she left without grabbing her heavy bag from the trunk, and the bag is now bleeding. What works great in this is that the very ending has an extra twist that I will leave as a secret so I don't give away everything. On to number 4, Lightning. This one's short and creepy, just like I like them. Soon after a man and his son move into a new house, there's a thunderstorm. His son says, "I watched the lightning at my window," and the man thinks it's cute. He doesn't think there's anything too odd about his 3-year-old son saying it again and again on other days when there's no storms. But when he finds out why his son has been saying it, it haunts him. So I'll leave you to check that one out too. On to number 3, The Writer's Ink. This one is not credited to any author, and it takes about 12 minutes to read. I really like it because it's cool and abstract. It's a different way of seeing books in writing. You'll see if you check it out. So the character John is writing a story and is affected by how his life is starting to feel as if it's scripted. The scenes of his life feel like they've been set up to frame the theme of the story. It's so meta, and I love it, and basically, this story evolves into a conversation with another character, Chris, and they explore what they believe is going to be a dark tale of the story that they are in together, the one you're reading. It's characters in a story that know they're in a story and that they're just figments of a reader's imagination, and I just say, check it out, has a cool creepy ending, and see if you like the meta-ness for yourself. But I just need to, for the next one, give props for making me believe it was real for a hot second. At number 2, The Puppet Master's Regime. This one had me falling for it, thinking it's real because it's framed as research into an event in history. It's well detailed with headings for the different accounts people have had of the event to build into the story. These testaments build up a feeling of validity and that the story was built upon something real that was witnessed by real people. While it's a slow start, I think that honestly adds up and adds to the realism. These testaments are talking about the performance of a musical called The Puppet Master's Regime and its horrific end. It's marvelously done, well written, and I say just go read it. It even has a sequel about the revival of The Puppet Master's Regime. But first, on to number 1. Buttonhead. This is an amazing one from r/nosleep that was recommended to me. It's written by Trevor Lepay, aka Echo Management on Reddit, who will be linked below, and thank you for letting me share this. This story is a recount of a time the narrator spent at a US Department of Energy laboratory in the American Southwest in the late 80s. More particularly, it's about one of the stories talked about at the narrator's work. Buttonhead is watching you. It's described as one of the work myths until the narrator asks one of his old coworkers if he's ever seen this disturbing entity. And here's a snippet of the story at that point. Just after he asked the man who's retiring if he ever saw Buttonhead, he said this: "I saw it once in one of the old warehouses way south of the tech area," he replied, cracking a forced smile. "I remember the smell most of all." And the narrator replied, "So is he an alien or just a regular old ghost?" And the smile of the retiring man quickly drained away. He paused, looking like he might confess something important, but stopped short of it, muttering, "No, it's much worse than that." And yes, the story goes on with how much worse it is, but you'll have to read it all for yourself. But that's all I have for you this time, and how is the pasta? Was it creepy enough for you? And do you think you're gonna be reading them? If you have already read any that I mentioned, let me know what you think of them in the comments below. And while you're down there, give us a like and sub. When he's young, I don't know. It's fun. Chef's kiss. Medic and the hype. Yeah. Should I close the door? It's open. Okay, hype. Dun, dun. Creepy. Pasta. It was fun. I had pasta today, so I was like, I'm so on brand.